I'm stuck. What phase are you in life? So if you're feeling stuck, I don't know if you've ever felt stuck. I know there are times in life where I felt stuck. Okay. And so today I want to talk to you about the phases of life. Okay. And hang in there with me on this video. Okay. I need for you to watch it to the end. Watch the video to the end. I think it'll be helpful. It's not going to be helpful if you bits and pieces. That's why I try to keep the videos around 10 minutes because I think that's more helpful for your attention span. All right. So we'll keep it short. All right. So I'm going to talk about the different phases. All right. And so the phase one is the developing and learning years. Those are phases 0 to 20. Phase two, the growing years, that's 20 to 30. Phase three, the yearning years, that's 30 to 45. And then phase four are the earning years, that's 45 to 75. Okay? And remember, sure, they're outliers, but I'm just talking for most people. All right? So just for most people. All right? So I want you to understand about each of the phases. Here's what I want you to understand. I want you to understand that it's like building a house. And if we're building a house, the foundation, if it's a good foundation, then the house will be a good house, right? Because the foundation. So the foundation is what the house sits on. Okay? And so there's this thought out there that my foundation doesn't matter. I can overcome my foundation. You can, but it's hard to do unless you go back and repair. So in other words, if you were a builder and your foundation was compromised, then the house is going to be compromised. You might have water seeping through in the basement whenever it rains. Okay, so you got to repair that. You got to get those holes and those cracks in that foundation repaired. So now, all right. So as you're thinking about how you build a house, if you're not successful as you put in the house, you've got to go back and you've got to repair. So same thing with the phases. You got to go back in those phases and repair the injuries, the things that arrest the development. So there are things that happen in each of the phases that could potentially arrest the development. So when you get to the next phase, you struggle. Each phase builds on top of the next phase. Now, success is being able to get through all the phases. Sometimes people don't get to the phases because of the arrested development. Okay. All right. So let's go to phase one. So phase one is a developing and learning years. And that's typically 0 to 20, right? And somebody's taking care of you. You're totally dependent on your family of origin, financially and emotionally. They're providing your foundational philosophy, like whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. That's going to be in that foundational philosophy. Okay. You're figuring out who you are as a person. You're figuring out who your family origin is. You're figuring out who you are in the world. Okay. So that's typically what we're doing in that first 20 years of our life, generally speaking. All right. And then we transition to phase two. So phase two is 20 to 30. So what are we doing between, and I call those the growing years. Those are the years that we're growing, right? So you're setting the direction. You're going to college. You're deciding whether you're going to be in corporate America, you're going to be in government, you're going to be in retail, you're going to be an entrepreneur. So this is where you're figuring this out. You may even begin to take care of yourself 100% during this phase, depending on what your direction is. Okay. So for some occupations, it can take longer to get up on your feet and be able to support yourself financially 100%. Okay. All right. Then let's go to phase 3. So phase 3 is the yearning years, and that's 30 to 45. So what are we doing there? So 30 to 45 is typically where by this time for sure we're taking care of somebody else, right? And that may have even started in phase 2. Okay, during the growing years, you may have a child and you're taking care of your child. And sometimes having a child in those growing years, it can help you focus. It can, make you more tenacious and give you a bigger why during phase 2. Okay. And then phase 3, the yearning years, and this is where you're clear on your focus. You're putting the work in. You're practicing your craft. You're taking care of others because you got a family now, right? People can't always see your growth because you're kind of, you're putting the work in, right? And it's, you're moving in silence a lot. Okay, so you're studying, you're practicing, you're teaching, right? The pound effect is coming in, right? And those where you're doing, those simple daily disciplines every day. You're doing the thing. Okay. You may have some good income during this time, right? Maybe you've crest over 60,000, right? 75,000, right? Maybe even 100,000 during this phase. So you're making some great income. All right. And then there's the earning years. Now the earning years is from 45 to 75. Now, so you may be taking care of others during this phase because, you got kids in college. Maybe you're just getting started with your family at 45. That's fine. Okay. You're getting married. You're doing things like that, right? During the earning years. But the foundation has already been laid in the other 3 phases. You've went back and you've done the repairs. So now you focus on simplicity. You're making things simple. You're making life simple, right? You're being requested. People are asking you questions and you have a name and a reputation of a person who's a SME. What's a SME? A subject matter expert. So your name, your reputation speaks for itself. Your income is climbing. Sometimes you're making more money than you've ever imagined. People know about you. Now, what are some things that prevent you from maximizing your earning years? Distractions. What would I consider to be a distraction? Well, a distraction are your health issues, divorce, anger issues, multiple sexual partners, mental health issues, substance use issues, okay? The lack of personal growth. And typically that's going to show up in some sort of arrested development. So if you feel stuck, where are you stuck? Hopefully this gives you a framework to see where you could potentially be stuck. How long have you felt stuck? Okay. I think understanding the phases of life that you're in can help you figure out the solution. Okay. And so, thanks for listening. And if you want more content like this, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications for any future releases. If you want to book a coaching session with George, I want you to click on the link below. It's in the description. Also, if you want to find your niche, whether it be on YouTube or any other place, I've got a free worksheet that you can download that'll help guide you in that way. Okay. And so thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video.